Hello guys, KP Shamino here with my build for 3.9, and it's my Lacerate Juggernaut physical build that I'm going to show you guys in this video. Why I'm playing Lacerate? Because it's one of my favorite skills, and what can you do with it? You can do very fast clearing, because you can go with Sand Stance, and you can do very high single target damage too with Blood Stance. Why I'm playing the Juggernaut? First of all, the Juggernaut got a very good Ascendancy Class that synergize very well with Lacerate. So every endurance charges that you got, you're going to get more area of effect. So that's going to make the cone a lot bigger. And Juggernaut is overall a very good class because it's very defensive. So what you're going to get with this skill is, or with this build is, you got a lot of defenses and you got high damage too. So it's perfect for the next update, the 3.9 that we are going to get, because we are going to get new bosses, we are going to get high level tiers in mapping. So therefore I wanted to play this build, and I'm going to show you guys in detail what you need to have for this build. Gem selection. Okay guys, for the gem selection, I'm going to start first with the Lacerate links. So that's the 6 link. So you need to have the 6 link on the chest. So we are going to start with Lacerate 2020, then we get Ruthless 2020, Multi-Strike 2020, Brutality 2020, we got melee physical damage, and we got Fortify. So it's a physical damage build, so therefore we are using Brutality. So everything is physical, and we are going to use 3 auras to buff the physical damage. 4 auras, I need to say, and 1 banner to let the enemies take more physical damage. That's simply said how the build works, and that's why you can do so much damage. Then we are going to the weapons. On the weapons, you need to have Enlighten. Why Enlighten? Because we are using so much auras. You guys can see it. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough mana. But you're never going to have trouble with mana because you got more than enough, and there is mana leech in the build, of course, too. Here we got Enlighten. Here we got War Banner, and here we got a Flesh and Stone. And then on the other weapon is the mobility, gems, and the Warshield, of course. So we got here Whirling Blades, we got Blood Magic because we need to use Blood Magic because we don't have any more mana, and here we got the Warshield Totem too because it's very handy. It's going to buff your DPS a lot, therefore I put it here. For the other auras is over here. Enlighten Support level 3 we got here. Here we got Blood and Sand, we got Pride, and we got Summon Ice Golem. And then for the last link that I'm going to show you guys, that's the defensive link. So it always comes back in my builds. Cast when damage taken level 10. Immortal Call level 8. Increase duration level 2020. So because it's going to buff the duration on Immortal Call. And then we got Blood Rage to get the frenzies up. So that was it for the gems, guys. So straight on, you got in total in this build 4 auras because I got vulnerability on the ring here too. And we got 1 war banner. Gear selection. The gear, guys. So I'm going to show you guys in this section the gear. It's very important, the gear. Sometimes you need to search for a long time because you need to cap your resistance. You need to get the damage high enough. You need to get the regeneration high enough. But I'm going to show you guys the gear and what do you need to search on gear that you're going to find. So let's get started first with the weapons. So the weapons, high physical damage, very important, and high critical strike chance. That's what you need to have. So those days, it's not that hard anymore to craft a physical sword. because you can now have the multiply crafted modifiers. So I bought the two swords, and they are around, I think, 400 TPS. I think for 5 to 6 exalted for both of them. So on standard league that is. So I think on the new league it's going to be 4 to 5 exalted, but then you got your endgame gear. You can do a shitload of damage and you're done. So it's worth it to buy them. So save up, because that's going to be the end gear. Of course, try to get Jeweled Foils. Why? Because they got the implicit the 25% to global critical strike multiplier. Multiplier is going to boost your damage with a lot. So that's a sword 2 times the same. It's not the same swords, but they got almost the same stats. Then for the helmet, I'm going with Abyssis because it's a very high DPS helmet, and the physical damage that you're going to take more with the Juggernaut is not a problem. Because I got 7 endurance charges up the whole time. I got a nice regeneration too, so it's never going to be a problem. So just go with the Abyssis. Just buy it. Get the increased Lacerate damage on it. You can get 40% on it too. But the best enchant for this build is the 30% increased vulnerability skill. But I didn't found it. I didn't found it on standard, so it's very rare. But that's going to boost your DPS the most. Because vulnerability, the aura is already going to give a lot of more physical damage on the target, and if you boost that with a head enchant with 30%, it's even going to get you more DPS. Then we are going to have a look to the rings. For me, the rings are always the same. For me, the ring is something where you put all your resistance on. So the two rings most of the time got the most resistance. You can go with the critical strike chance, so with the diamond ring, you guys can see it here. And of course you need to have life on them too. Life is very important in a build like this. So always go for resistance, go for life, and if you're a very rich guy, you can go for add physical damage and attack speed. The other one is just the same, always life on it, a lot of resistance. And here I got this on too. So curse the enemies with level 5 vulnerability on hit. It's very good, it's not so expensive. I paid 40 house for this, but of course, if you cannot buy it from the start, what is normal, you need to change those gems. So what do you need to do with those gems? So you need to do this. I will put it out here for you guys. So you need to have blasphemy, you need to have vulnerability, and you need to have enlighten. And the war banner and the flesh and stone, just get rid of them until you got this ring with vulnerability on hit. So that's how I played for a long time. It works perfect too. You don't need to do a lot. It's just you make on your sword 2 blue sockets and 1 red, and that's it. So you're going to use vulnerability as an aura. So that's what you need to do. Then we are going to the next step. That's the amulet. On an amulet, that's very straight on. Always get the turquoise amulet. Something that is going to buff dexterity and intelligence, because you need a lot of intelligence for for what spell was it? No, that was intelligence you're going to need for blasphemy at the start, 111. But at the end, if you play this build, of course, you don't need to have a lot of intelligence, but it's always handy. Dexterity you need to have a lot too, because you need to have a lot of dexterity for your swords. That's 212. So be sure that you got a turquoise amulet. Then very important, get the physical damage on it. With attacks, it's going to boost your DPS a lot because it's a physical build. Increase critical strike chance, increase critical strike multiplier, get life on it, and a resistance. It's not very expensive, this amulet, but everything is on it. If you got, of course, a little bit more money, you can go a little bit further with Shaper mods, with Elder mods, but it is just basics. You're not going to pay a lot for this amulet. Then we are going to the gloves. The gloves I crafted myself. Spy gloves, get attack speed on it or add physical damage. Life on it, a little bit of dexterity once again, and just get the resistance that you still need. Not that expensive, I crafted this myself. If you got a lot of money, you can get increased attack speed and add physical damage, or like another curse that you can have, but this is just the basic gear that I'm using. Then for the boots, go with Cam's Roots. Yeah, still the best. You cannot get knocked back. You never going to get slowed. It makes the build very slow, but it's way too good. A lot of life. If you can pay it, get the maximum endurance charges on it. If you want a little bit more speed, just get the enchant on it that you get 10% more movement speed if you are not hit recently. But it's very good. It's very cheap too. This is not so cheap because the maximum endurance charges, it's going to cost you 10-20 chaos for sure on the no league. But yeah, you can just use the normal one too. And then for the last piece of gear that I'm using, it's my belt. Go with Stygian Vice. So very simple again. Life, resistance. I got strength here. You can get something else on it. I put Flask apply to you, have 4 increased effect, 4% increased effect. Why I put that enchant on it? Because there was no other enchant that I can use. Because the elemental damage boost enchant is not working for this build. For the simple reason it's a physical build. But the jewel is very important. On the jewel, get increased attack speed, maximum life, mana is not so important, but the next one is important. 8% chance to gain onslaught for 4 seconds on kill. Be sure that you get it because it's going to give a boost to your DPS. So that was the gear, guys. Not over complicated gear. It's always the same. I forgot one thing more. That's my chest. I totally forgot the chest. So I'm using at the moment the Crusacian Carapace Golden Plate. Why I'm using this chest? First of all, I sold by accident my 6-link Astral Plate. But I like this chest too for the simple reason you cannot get bleed. I know I'm playing now, I think around 4,000 hours Marauders, and I died a lot of times with bleed. Because I'm almost, you don't watch it because your HP is down there and at the top you're looking at your character. So I was a little bit sick of it, so I just bought this chest because it got high armor, it got high life, the bleeding cannot inflict, you got nice resistance too. So it's a very decent chest. Do you need to buy this chest? No, you don't need to buy this chest. Just buy an Astral Plate chest, 6 link, once again, high life, high armor, a couple of resistance, depends what you still need. If you got a lot of money, you can start working with the Shaper Elder mods. So main level 1 on it works really well. You got a 7 link then. If you got a lot of money, you can go for the more critical strike linked to the link. So you're going to get 1.5% more critical strike to your 6 link. It's going to be a major DPS, more life, but that's only when you're very rich. Just go with Astral Plate and all the stuff that I said, and you will be okay too. That was it for the gear. Flask selection. The next part are the flasks. So the flasks are very important. So first you need to have a flask, a life flask. That's normal because sometimes you're going to get hit very hard. So what do you need to search on a life flask? You need to find this. You need to have instant recovery. So that means you're going to recover a little bit less life, but it's going to be instant. So you guys can see it here. I got 50% reduced amount recovered. I got 135% increased recovery rate and then 50% of the recovery applied instantly. Very important for a build like this. You need to have your life really quick back. So that's always the case if you fight without a shield, that sometimes you're going to get spike damage. Then the next one is another life flask, nothing special, just the same a little bit. You can put everything on it what you want. Of course, if you're not using this chest and you're going to use a normal Astral Plate chest, be sure that you got remove bleed on one of your life flasks. Very important. Don't forget to do that, otherwise you're going to die. Then the next one is your crit flask, so it's going to boost your critical strike. What do you need to search on this flask to have? So you need to have the increased duration, and you need to have the 79% increased critical strike chance during flask effect. So you guys can see it, this flask is going to last for 6.2 seconds, that I'm going to have increased critical strike chance from the flask and from the mod. So it's one of your major DPS boost that you're going to have. You will see if you're going to play the build, you're always using it. Every pack you're going to use one flask, because it's going to boost your DPS with a lot. Then the next one is a Quicksilver to get some speed in the build with the Adrenaline mod on it. So in 30% increased movement speed during Flask effect. And then the last one is Lion's Roar Granite Flask. One of the few that is boosting the melee physical damage and is going to be doing the knockback on enemies. Ascendancy Class. The next part, guys, is the Ascendancy keystones that you need to take. So you guys can see here the Ascendancy points that I took. So if you start leveling, the first one that you need to take is this one. Why you need to take this one? So we are playing a crit build, so accuracy is very important. And with this amount of accuracy, your hit cap is almost done. So be sure that you take this one. So that's the first note that you need to take. Then the next one is this one, high regeneration, reduced damage taken, 5%, that's a lot. And your armor is doubled. With Abysses, that's very necessary. So a very good note that you need to take. Then the third one is this one. And then the last one is this one. Why is this one so good? I already said it in the intro. You guys can see, first of all, you're going to increase your damage per endurance charge. We got 7 endurance charges, so we are going to get a nice damage boost. But the next part is more important. So increased area of effect per endurance charge. If we got 7, 7 multiplied 6 is 42% more area of effect. So you guys know the cone of the Lacerate is going to get bigger. It's sometimes even so big that you can play in blood stance to clear the area. So therefore it's so good, and therefore it synergizes really well with the Lacerate spell. So that was it for the Ascendancy points and when you need to take them. Leveling gear. Okay guys, the next part, the leveling gear. So you don't need to do a lot with this build. So the beauty about this build and with swords build is that you got like 3 swords, unique swords that you can use until you're in high level mapping. And yeah, it's very easy. So we are going to start with the first sword that you can acquire. This is at level 28. So it's called the Lakish's Blade. It's very cheap. I think you're going to pay maybe one alchemy maybe for it. So get it at level 28. Then the next one is this one, the Prismatic Eclipse. That is at level 53. And then the last one is this one, the Scava. It's at level 60. And this one is going, you can just do mapping with it. Because it's not going to give a lot of less DPS compared to the swords that I'm using. Yeah, of course, it's going to give a decent amount of DPS, but with this you can start mapping. So very easy for the swords. Then get yourself a tabula rasa. A 6 link at the start of the game is very, very handy, and you are not going, if you're just leveling through the chapters, it's not very important that you got your resistance caps and all that stuff. That's going to start when you go for mapping. So you can just go 6 link, and every time that you unlock a new gem, you can just throw it in the 6 link and you will be good. And then for the last one, a build that I'm using the most of the new leaks too is this, the build of the Deceiver. It's a very good build. You got life on it, you got global physical damage on it, you got reduced extra damage from critical strikes, you got elemental resistance on it, and nearby enemies are intimidated. It's a very good build, just get it. So that's a little bit of 5 items that I use every new league, because I'm now playing already 3 leagues with swords and it works really fine. There is only one bottleneck most of the time between this sword and this sword. My DPS is getting a little bit low because it's over 25 levels that you need to have. So it's possible that between those 2 swords you need to get like a rare sword somewhere with high physical damage on it to overcome that problem. Because on that point, most of the time my DPS is getting a little bit too low for the area that I'm in. The Pahantheon Bandit. The next part, guys, the Pahantheon. So I take 3 nodes only because the other ones are not so good. So I take this one, Soul of Tukohama, because you get more physical damage when you're stationary, so on one place. Then I take this one, so it's going to boost your physical damage reduction once again. And then if I go to a boss, I switch the Soul of Lunaris for this one, the Soul of Solaris, because you get more physical reduction if there is only one enemy near. So that's it for the Phantoms. Then for the bandits, take Alira. So Alira is the bandit that you need to take. More crit multiplier, all resistance, and mana regeneration, because it's working very good for the build. And yeah, it's the best bandit that you can take. The jewels. For the next part, I'm going to show you guys the jewels. So it's very important that you know what the jewels are doing. So the first one is very simple. So get increased attack speed. I'm still using the mace and the scepter ones, but of course that need to be the sword one. But this is still doing a lot of damage, more than my other jewels. Get global critical strike multiplier, get life on it, and get increased area damage. Increased melee damage will work really well too. So that's one yeah, jewel, the normal rare one. And then we come to the next jewel. So we got this jewel. It's the Watcher Eye. It's very good. You only can use one of them. But you need to get this. The chance to deal double damage while using Pride. We are using the Aura Pride. So it's going to boost your DPS with a lot. It's not so expensive, this one. I bought this on standard for 60, 70 chaos, but it's going to give your DPS a major boost just by the double DPS damage that you got. You need to imagine you're doing 200,000, 500,000 damage, you just double that. That's a lot of DPS that you got, so be sure that you get it. If you are a very rich guy, you can get the double impale too. You can get the attack damage 60% too, but you need to have around 100 exalted to do that. But yeah, why would you pay it? I already got like 2-3 million DPS. There is no boss yeah, that is going to yeah, going to take that amount of damage, or you are not going to need that amount of damage. So just get a double damage and you will be okay. Then the next one is a little bit more complicated. It's called the Lethal Pride Amulet. It's from the Legion expansion, I think, because I didn't play the leagues. I don't play a lot of leagues because I don't like them. I'm most of the time on standard. But what's it going to do? So you buy this. Be always aware if you buy this that you know what it's doing, because what is doing, what is the jewel doing? So the jewel is going to reforge, yeah, not reforge, but it's going to add mods to the surrounding yeah, nodes that you got here. So to the keystones, it's going to give some extra. So you see here, Savagery is going to get 20%, 20 strength more. It's always the second number, the most to the bottom. Then the next one is going here, increased melee damage. So the jewel is doing that. So why do you need to get a jewel? For this increased melee damage and for this. Where is it? I think it's here. Is it this? Yeah, here. The chance to deal double damage once again. So that means that I already got 16% chance to double damage. So the other good stuff that you can have is this. Physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. So to mitigate the damage from the abysses. Here I got once again melee damage. Melee damage, what is this? Chance to double damage. This one is fire resistance and this one is just strength. So it's how does this jewel work? So you buy a jewel. I didn't know that because I didn't play Legion. So you buy a jewel, and this jewel in this state always going to give at this position the same numbers. It's never going to change. So if I give now this jewel to my friend and he puts it in his tree on this position, all the updates are going to be just the same. But the main problem is if you buy a jewel from a guy, you don't know what it's going to boost. So it's very hard, because there are a lot of scammers in this game, to find a guy that, yeah, give you a screenshot and is giving you the right jewel. So most of the time they give a screenshot and they say, yeah, check this here, this is boosted, this is boosting. It's a very good jewel. I ask 10 exalted for it. But yeah, you always can be scammed, so be very careful. You can re-roll the jewel too. You just need to put a divine on it and you re-roll it. Damn, that was a very tough word for me. So you can just divine, re-roll it, and then you just put it once again in. You check the nodes that are changed, and you can just see it. I did it with this one, so I didn't know that. I just bought the jewel 100 house on standard. I put it in. I was like, yeah, it's not so good. And then I thought maybe I need to buy another one. I bought another one. It was not so good again. And then I saw, yeah, you can divine it. So I just divined it with the divined orb. And I got this one. So it's a lot, 40% more melee damage, double damage, 5% fire resistance I got. I got these two. So you need to have a little bit of luck with it, or you need to have an honest seller that is giving you the right information. So that's it for the jewels, guys. And now I'm going to show you guys the last part of the video, and then we are done. It's path of building, a little bit of numbers, and then the video is going to be done. Path of building. For the last part, guys, I'm going to give you guys a little bit information about path of building and the numbers that you're going to have with this build if you want to play the build, of course. So I'm doing 3.2 million DPS. This is in blood stance. So if we go to sand stance for clearing the mapping, it's 2.4 million. That's more than enough. So I got in the configuration frenzy charges on, I got endurance charges on, I got onslaught on, and fortify on. So that's a nice amount of damage that you can do. That's more than enough. So you guys can see it. Do I still need to use my items? Yes, I used my crit chance. Oh, why is this not higher? Is it only 6%? Ah, no, it goes to 71%. So if you use your flask, you're going to get 71% critical strike. And then for the other stats that are very important, so this is the level 100 build that you need to have. So a very important stat, what I like a lot too, is you got almost 600 life regen. So that's a lot of ticking that you do. You got the most, yeah, you got almost every moment that you're fighting 90% of physical damage reduction. That's very important too. Of course, everything is kept on fire damage. So I cannot say more. So be aware, it's a Juggernaut. So if you start here with leveling, be sure that you go very fast to this area. So because we don't have something that will leech mana, so be sure that you come to this area, because here is the mana leech and the damage leech. So that's one of the first things that you need to have. And then you can just freelance. There is not a best route that you need to take. You just need to feel it. So if your DPS is not high enough, there are nodes enough that is going to boost your DPS on the way. It's a very small area that I use. If you want a little bit more life, you come to this area, the Wheel of Life. But it's very straight on. So yeah, I cannot say more about it, guys. So that was it a little bit, guys. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoy the build. Yeah, have nice holidays, because Christmas is incoming and the New Year. And have fun in the new patch. Thanks for watching, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.